Let us start with this mantra. Tavu kathamritam tapta jivanam kobi bhiriritam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam sri madatatam bhuvi grinanti e bhurida janaha. Friends, you may remember that we started reading this Gospel in April 2013, and every Tuesday we are going on reading this, and so many chapters we have covered, but still the interest in reading and listening is there. Why? Because it is Amrit, is the nectar. The nectar, it has a capacity to attract people. But those people who are sincere, who like to be enlightened in the spiritual life. But those who are not, for them, it is impossible. Even a single page, if they are reading, they will say, oh my God, what you are doing. For them it is a wastage of time. But those who are sincere to develop in the spiritual life, every word, every page, full of Amrit, the nectar, the wonderful blessings, the joy that comes through this. Before the winter vacation in our last class, we discussed on the topic, what kind of yearning necessary to realize the bliss of Brahman is so important. What kind of urges are necessary to realize the bliss of Brahman? Those who are attending the Ashtavakra Samhita that I have started in the Hindu temple Lemont, you know the story that we began with? That a great king Janaka, he wanted to know, because he read somewhere in the scripture, that if a person is putting one leg in the stirrup and taking a jump on the back of the horse to sit on the saddle of the horse, that much time it takes to realize God, to realize Brahman. So naturally he became very much curious and he wanted to know from the Brahmins, but many of them could not. So they were put into jail. He became angry. Then ultimately the young boy of 12 years old, Ashtavakra, came to the court of the Janaka, and there he told Janaka, I can teach you, but you have to follow me. Janaka went, and with the horse, we can imagine, and he was ready, and he placed his left leg on that so that he can jump on the back of the horse, and he was eager. Am I going to realize Brahman right this moment? Ashtavakra told, wait. You are going to learn the Brahma Jnana from me? That means you accept me as your guru? And before accepting a guru, you have to give the guru pranami, the respect to the guru. And what you are going to give? Janaka was not having anything with him. So he said, my body, my mind, my whole wealth, and this kingdom, everything I give it to you. But give me that knowledge. Friends, look at the eagerness. So here we read that on the December 2018, particular portion, how much yearning is necessary to realize God? Someone was asking. And Sri Ramakrishna gave the reply, but this story of Janaka also, from there we get this, how eager the king Janaka was, and he was not hesitant to give the whole kingdom immediately, and along with the body and the mind. And you know the story how the Ashtavakra gave the blessings to Janaka, taught him. He himself realized. And here also Sri Ramakrishna said, the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna giving the answer to this question, as long as one need the ear under the water. The story he was telling, putting the head down inside the water, the Guru was telling. Jesus also said the same parable. A person, he came to know how I should pray to God. Jesus put his head under the water and forced him over there for some time, then released him, and he came out and he was gasping for the air. And then Jesus said, how you felt about the air under the water? Oh my, I was going to die. At that type of yearning is necessary. I am going to die without the realization of God. So that is the way we must have to. Then he was talking about three different viewpoints of the Hindus. One is devotional. To love God is the essence and nothing else. Bhakti alone is the essence and nothing else. One is going on crying. I don't want anything, God, please give me devotion. Except the devotion to you, I don't need anything. That is the yearning. Now look at us. Are we ready for that? We need so many other things. Along with that, the little blessings of God. We need the blessings of God, a little bit of protections from the God. And so that we are not suffering, we are successful, all our ventures are successful, we are sufficient, that is okay. So God has blessed us with all these things. The people, the householders, they always say like that. But here it is not like that. For the realization of God, nothing but the devotion to God. I don't need anything else. And naturally, the people, apparently they go mad. They will be crying constantly. God, I don't need anything. Why you are giving me so many things? I don't need it. So this way, when going on, that is called the bhakti. The yogic path, the withdrawing the senses, that means separating the sense organs of knowledge, separating from the objects. The eye, the ear, the nose, and all the 5 organs constantly should be separated from the objects. Whatever I see, I must see God in it. The beauty that God has given in it. I am not going to analyze anything, but I see the God manifested over there. Each and everything should be the God. And that it goes in this way. And smell, that also only I feel the beautiful fragrance that God has given. So I withdraw from the worldly things. Only for the God I go inside. The sound also only the name of God or the Omkara. And when I am touching and closing my eyes, yesterday when we were performing the Shivaratri, that's why I was requesting the devotees, transport your mind to that holy temple of Kashi. And there the Lord Shiva, and we are pouring the water. We are going to the Ganges and bringing the water, pouring the water on the Shiva and touching the Shiva. And then milk. You are not spending anything, but only mentally. But the way you are there, that is the puja. When we are awake, whatever we are doing, in whatever temple we are doing, and what is that? The same thing if we do completely, withdrawing our mind from other places, and that is called meditation. And that way also, only God and nothing else. Atman and Paramatman, we are merging and nothing else. And the path of the knowledge, the Sapta Bhoomikas. And you know that in the Vedanta, they are also having the Sapta Bhoomikas, the 7 planes. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning about it. Very few people they know. What do we know about the 7? That is the Sapta, the yoga, they say about this. The Sapta Yoga Bhumi. That is Muladhar, Sadhishtan, Manipur. We will read that. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is describing that in great details. But the Jnani is also in the path of knowledge. There are Sapta Bhumi is their planes. What? The first and foremost is the Shubhecha, auspicious decision. That's called Shubha Ichha, Shubhecha. The auspicious decision, what is that? And when we read that one young boy, he went to Shankaracharya and he said, "Sir, I don't want anything, but I want to realize the Brahman." And he was asking some question in that whole Vivek Chudamani. It is the answer of the 7 questions that the disciple asked, the young person asked to the Guru. And those 7 questions, the Shankaracharya going on giving the answer, and in details, it became a big book, the Viveka Chudamani. And when he said that I have decided to realize Brahman and I don't need anything else, then the Guru, Shankaracharya, is explaining, Shankaracharya himself is so full of joy, and he is narrating in this way, Dhannosi, Kritakrittosi, Pavitam te kulam, Pavitam te kritam taya, Yad avidya bandha mukta, Brahmi bhavitum ichchasi. Avidya bandha mukta. From the bondage of the ignorance, that means you have understood that this is all ignorance. That realization has come. In this world, whatever I get, it is nothing. Someday I am going to die. I was observing a movie, and there I saw that one lady, the grandmother, she has a lot of property, but her sons and their daughters and all, they are living in different places. They won't visit. Even when she calls them over phone, they say, I'm busy, I will talk to you. But they are going on talking on some phone. The movie is like that. The lady is constantly thinking when they will come back, my son, my daughter, my grandchildren. And that is samsara. And then finally someone told, you say, it announced that you are going to distribute your property, then the children will come. That she did. And all the children then reached over there, Mama, how are you? And etc., when you are going to distribute the property. This is world, there is no love. All goes in this way. As long as the children are small, they know that I need the support, and he will be holding their hand. Then afterwards they grow up, slowly it is their own world, and the world is like this. Again and again we experience in our own life, but at the same time we don't realize it. Why? Because Maya covers it in such a way that we always feel after the whole year, maybe once or twice, if the children are talking, then we forget, oh, that is good. So they are also busy, it's okay for us. So this way it goes, this is the whole world. And then when one, understanding these, realizing these, takes the decision, Shubha Ichcha, Shubhecha, first step. And what is that Shubhecha? No, I am going to realize God and nothing else. And for that I am ready to do whatever you ask me to do. That is called Shubhecha. And when the Shubhecha comes, the Guru is very happy because he has traveled in that path. And he knows where the true happiness is. And when a person is truly understanding it, and the bondage is so strong, it is so strong, The worldly bondages are so strong, it is very, very difficult to give up. Very difficult to give up. So this way one goes, it's called Subhecha. And then Vicharana, reflection. He goes on thinking, it is true that I have taken up this path. See, whatever I am getting is sufficient for me. I have got a room, I have got to sleep somewhere, some food, and that is sufficient. Because my only purpose is to realize God. Why should I go on checking, why I am not getting this, why I am not getting that benefit? That is the problem comes when you take the decision to realize God, but at the same time, if you are not aware in the life of the mendicants, in the life of those who are trying to realize God, these things again come. I should get this, I should get that, why not, this, all that. I should be satisfied with only one square of meal, and then I am going on trying to concentrate. That is called Vicharana. And when you are constantly going on analyzing this world and going on giving up all these attachments, your mind has become very thin. That's called Tanu Manasa. And it becomes very thin, and thinness of the mind. Why thin? Because only one thought is there, no many thoughts. That's why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna never read the newspapers and all that. So many informations are coming and crowding inside the mind. Only one thought. There's some people, they used to have only Sri Ram, nothing else. You'll be keeping in the pocket only one small piece of paper, Sri Ram, that is sufficient for me. I'm not going to read all these books. I know if I realize Sri Rama, Rama will tell me what is all the idea. I don't need all these ideas. So this is a completely concentrated, the mind it goes, then Sattva Patti. When I can make my mind ready in this way, then comes the Sattva Upapatti, the feeling of the realization. And that is the truth, the realization of the truth. And it comes along with that desirelessness, Asama Shakti. They need no desire, because they don't need anything. There's no desire at all. It's not only in the life of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Those who have read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, you know, even in the life of the mother of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, she also developed this Asama Shakti, desirelessness. She was having nothing. Practicing the meditation and the japa, then ultimately at the old age she came from Kamarpukur to Dakshineshwar, and the Jamindar Mathur Babu, who was serving the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, then kept him on that small house, that one room only. She was there, and Mathur Babu wanted to give some money to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. He refused. Then he went to the mother of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. She also said, what I am going to do, Mathur? Because you gave me everything. You have given me this room, and I can see Goddess Ganga every time from these windows, and I get food all the time as the prasad comes from the temple. What else I need? I don't need anything. When the Mathur was insisting, he said, okay, bring that small thing, little thing. And Mathur was a great, rich person, and he was thinking, this much? Maybe not even an anna. No, 1/4 of the $1. Even with that only, that is called the desirelessness. Asama Shakti. It's not necessary at all. And then comes sixth, Padartha Abhavana, objectlessness. No desire in the mind means there is no other object except the realization of the God. No other object. Finally comes Turiyaga. Turiyaga means transcendence. He goes beyond this. So when we talk about the spiritual life, Actually, most of us, we think of a little higher moral life, that's all. That's good, no doubt about it. It's of course good. Little higher moral values. We don't do anything bad, no bad practices, and then we go to the temple and sometimes we pray. That is all right. But when you talk about the God realization, when you talk about the realization of the Brahman, Brahma Jnana, these are the things that Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is showing about it. The Shubhecha, Vicharana, Tanumanasa, Sattvapatti, Asamashakti, Padartha Bhavana, and Turiyaga. These are the 7 steps in the Jnana Marg. And then it comes in this way, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, how blessed is he? Then we can understand when we read this page. We find in the page number 497 of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, translated by Swami Nikhilananda ji. Here he is mentioning Ram. He was a doctor by profession and very close devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. When not many people knew him, Ram was associated with Sri Ramakrishna and used to feel all the time that I am with Sri Ramakrishna, and he'll be going on having the hot dialogue with many people in the Calcutta, because they were not knowing Sri Ramakrishna. They used to criticize, without knowing, people will be criticizing. That is also a bad characteristics. And Rama will go and fight with them. And he visited one person and had a conversation with a reporter and the editor of a newspaper, and he came and he was reporting to Sri Ramakrishna. But look at the behavior of Sri Ramakrishna. I read, Ram, I visited Shashadhar yesterday. The Shashadhar Tatkachudamani is a great person. He visited him. You asked me to. As if Sri Ramakrishna asked him to do. But Sri Ramakrishna is telling, did I? I don't remember. But it is nice that you went. You went to a good person. Then the Ram is reporting. The editor of the Indian Empire, that was a newspaper in those days, was abusing you. Then Sri Ramakrishna, suppose he was, what does it matter? Look at it, completely detached, but it is from the viewpoint of Sri Ramakrishna. He doesn't mind whether people are criticizing him or praising him. But what the devotee should do, that is Ramachandra. Ram said, please listen. Then I began to talk to the editor about you. And he then wanted to hear more and won't let me go. And this should be the attitude of the devotee. The devotee won't give up. Why? Because you do not know, and that is the reason you are criticizing. So you must understand this. But the Sri Ramakrishna, about whom things are going on, he doesn't bother about it. So it is the 2 different types. If someone is criticizing the organization or my guru, my philosophy, my ideology, I must try to make him convinced, talk to him and tell that you are wrong as a devotee. But the person about whom they are talking, if he is a Brahmagyani, he will never care about it. But in the life of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, we learn, many of you know, that same type of incident happened with 2 different people. Both are his disciples. And they are here, the great disciples. The one was very timid, gentle, and he was from the very rich person's house. He came and reported, when I was crossing the river in the boat, many of the people were criticizing you. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, what did you do? I didn't say anything, but I was sorry. Sri Ramakrishna said, what? They were criticizing your guru and you didn't say anything? You should, at least they say, if someone is criticizing the guru, you should go and cut his head. If not that much, at least You could talk something about me? He was asking that boy. Another person, he was physically very strong, and when the things happened, of course, he didn't report, but other people, they reported that when this same type of discussion came and they were criticizing Sri Ramakrishna, and he immediately stood up and said, if you are criticizing my guru, I am going to capsize this boat. And he started tilting the boat on the Ganga river itself. Then everybody was afraid and all they said, sorry, sorry. And then the young man said, okay, Niranjananandaji, a wrestler and very powerful. He didn't say anything to Sri Ramakrishna. His friend told. Immediately Sri Ramakrishna called him and said, this is very bad. Why? Because he was taking it completely in a different way. Capsizing the boat means so many people would have died. So Sri Ramakrishna said, only 1 or 2% they were criticizing. Why you were giving the punishment to each and everyone? So devotees should be intelligent to understand what they should do in what circumstances. That is the teaching. And Sri Ramakrishna, he didn't react at all. Why? Because he was not attached by all these things. Why reaction? Because when I am affected with some of the criticism of the praise, nothing. I know myself. So this is the way one should go now. We will start this 26th chapter, which says the festival at Author's house. It was Sunday, August 3rd, 1884. But it begins with the narration account of the Dakshineshwar temple. And the Master Mahashaya is writing. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in his room in the temple garden at Dakshineshwar after his midday meal. When you read, the many small groups, they read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. At some of the groups, they read the Bhagavad Gita. There are many in the West Bengal. The ladies group particularly, they will be meeting in the noontime, and all of them, they will read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the pages of the Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel. And when one is reading, all others will close their eyes and they will transport their mind to that particular time. As if Sri Ramakrishna is sitting, that's why Master Moshe wrote in such a graphic way the details. Garden, the party of bowls from the Shivpur and several devotees from Bhavanipur, Balaram and Aim were in the room. Aim means the Master Moshe himself. So Mahendranath, so you sometimes mention Aim. Most of the time we mention Aim, Mahendranath. And Balaram Bose, the great devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, and a group of bowls. Bowls also, nowadays it has become a fashion to sing the songs. But these are not songs, these are their spiritual practices. A group of people, they are called bowls. They are also practicing Advaita, but through the body, they will be constantly going on telling this body is nothing, but God is everything. But through a beautiful way, they will compose the song and sing, and they have a different way of dancing, singing. This is really very... Now it has become a profession. Some people are singing in their, putting on the attire, the dress of the bowls, and they will be singing like the bowls, and people appreciate it. But this is a sadhana. This is a course of spiritual practices. This group that came, and they are from Shivpur. And also Rakhal, Latu, Harish, they were living with the Master. We should notice these points. Rakhal, Latu and Harish. Rakhal and Latu, those who have read and associated with the Ramakrishna movement, they can understand Rakhal means afterwards the Swami Brahmananda. His name was Rakhal. Latu, Swami Adbhutananda. They used to stay with Sri Ramakrishna. They were learning the spirituality, staying with Sri Ramakrishna. The Master began the conversation by addressing the Baul musicians from Shivpur. Yoga is not possible if the mind dwells on lust and gold. These people, they are not ordinary singers. They are ascetics and they are practicing spirituality through the path of the bowl. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling them about the yoga. And what is that yoga? Withdrawing the mind from the sense objects and putting it into the realm of God or the Brahman or the spirituality. The mind of a worldly man generally moves among the three lower centers. Why Sri Ramakrishna is telling this, and he will be in great details, we will read that, great details about the yoga, because the Bauls, they practice the yoga. And most of the time they make the mistake. That's why Sri Ramakrishna categorically, he is mentioning the mind of a worldly man generally moves among the three lower centers, and those are at the navel, at the sexual organ and the organ of the evacuation. And that is Muladhar, Shadhisthana and Manipur. It goes in that. After great effort and spiritual practice, the Kundalini is awakened. According to the yogis, there are three nerves in the spinal column. According to the yogis, Ida, Pingala and Susumna. Along the Susumna are 6 lotuses or centers. Now Sri Ramakrishna, now he is talking about the yogic way of understanding the whole Sapta Bhumi. The lowest being Susumna, the lowest being known as the Muladhara. Through the Susumna, the center part, there are 6 stages, and the lowest one is Mula Adhara. Adhara means containing, Mula means the main energy. So Mula Adhara. Then comes successively Swadhisthana, Manipur, Anahata, Vishuddha and Agga. These are the 6 centers. The Kundalini, when awakened, passes through the lower centers and comes to the Anahata, which is at the heart. Now when we talk about the heart, we always feel like this side. No, we have to remember that these are the things inside the Sushumna, which is coming straight in our spinal cord. And there these 3 things are there, and one which is all the time, 2 are all the time crossing. So here when it is coming up straight, it is coming to the center, and this center is the center of our body. In the center of our body, that there the yogis they find this lotus, and Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning about it, that in the heart. At that time, the mind of the aspirant is withdrawn from the 3 lower centers. He feels the awakening of divine consciousness and see light. When the mind comes onto that in the heart, Muladhara, Shadhisthana, Manipur, and the 4th one, Anahata. Anahata, it has not been hit by anything. So Anahata, that the center part, over there when the mind comes, it continuously sees the light, not the form of God. And even here, the words of God, he sees the light. And this is the divine consciousness he feels. In mute wonder, he sees the radiance and cries out, "What is this? What is this?" Sometimes some of the people in a modern age, so naturally so many types of schools teaching the meditation, varieties of ways, and people are also learning in different ways. They don't have much time, so wherever, but the mind is turbulent, they want peace, they go to yoga, and wherever they find in the easiest way, but they always try to concentrate in between the two eyebrows, and there they see the blue light. Many of them, they told me, we are practicing such and such yoga and we find the blue light in between the two eyebrows. I don't think that is good. It's not good, because in the traditional way that we have read, and as Sri Ramakrishna is describing, it's better to go that path. It may take some time, but we know that we are going in the right path, directed by those who are realized souls. So this is the way we come to the anahata, and in the center of the body that lotus is opening, and in that lotus, on the mind when it comes, it sees the light only, and it is full of joy. That's why Sri Ramakrishna said divine consciousness. And how we will know the divine consciousness? The joy. The joy that comes without depending on anything else. After passing through the 6 centers, the Kundalini reaches the 1,000-petal lotus known as Sahasrara. The Shashta Bhumi, then comes the Sapta Bhumi, that is on the top of the head, and it is 1,000 petal. You can imagine. The 1,000-petal lotus is opening up, and the aspirant goes into Samadhi. According to the Vedas, these centers are called Bhumi, plains. There are plains of the Vedas. According to the Tantra, there is in this center lotus called Anahata with 12 petals. The Anahata, according to Tantra, it is having 12 petals. The lotus that is opening up, and it is red color. On that, you can see the God, or if you are not initiated and not dedicated to a particular god or goddess, no chosen idol, you can see the light. The center node of the Vishuddha is the 5th plane. This center is at the throat and has a lotus with 16 petals. This is all Tantra. So the Vaishnava, Tantra and Vedanta, they all speaks about the Sapta Bhumi. And in this Sapta Bhumi, it goes in this way, particularly Tantra and Yoga, they go hand in hand. And the Tantra is telling it is 16 petals, that lotus. When the Kundalini reaches this plane, the devotee long to talk and hear only about God. That is in the throat. And there it is, the 15 petals. Conversation on worldly subjects like the lust and gold causes him great pain. He leaves the place where people talk of this matter. How we will know that we are really progressing into the spiritual path, the path of the yoga particularly, when we are withdrawing our mind and we are practicing meditation and prayer and the mind is going upward? How we will understand the progress? These. The discussion about the worldly things we won't like at all, but the discussion about the God, the spirituality, that will always attract us. And that is the reason sometimes some people, one lady was telling that I am listening your Gita, Bhagavad Gita. I delivered the Gita lecture in Bengali, a complete Gita. So she is listening that. She should, even when I am sleeping, I go on listening that. Then afterwards I go to sleep. When I get up, that is going on, that goes on into my mind, and so many wonderful thoughts. No other thoughts are coming. In the beginning, we should behave like that. Constantly mind should be trained into that and nothing else. And then only it is possible, because the attraction of the worldly things are tremendous. Why? Because God has made that. God wanted our mind to go out. And in one of the Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, it is describing as the father, angry father, asks the sons to go out of the house. Similarly, as if the Father who is residing inside is asking all the five senses to go out, not to come in. So they go out and enjoy in the outside world. They don't like to come back. And you have to withdraw slowly. It is a really, really difficult job. And here, when it comes, then comes the sixth plane, corresponding to the center known as Agya Chakra. This center is located between the eyebrows. And it has lotus with two petals. When the Kundalini reaches, the aspirant sees form of God. Here only the form of Gods come. So first, it begins with the heart. When the mind comes up to the heart, the Anahata, he sees the light. The light of, not of this, is a beautiful light. One Swami told me his own experience. He's a great respected Swami, still there in Belur Math. I am not going to take his name. But he told me long back that before the sannyasa, he was a great, the austere type of monk. And before the sannyasa, he went in the night, when all were sleeping, he went to the temple of Sri Ramakrishna. Temple was closed, and outside he sat and he was going on praying. Tomorrow the next day we are going to have the sannyasa. Before sannyasa, shall I not have any experience? Then what I am going to do without any experience if I get that sannyasa? So he was going on praying, and as if he dozed over there, as if he slept over there, and suddenly he woke up when he saw the bright light. So he opened his eyes and saw where from the light is coming. Is it morning? Now whether the temple has opened, whether the sun rose or what. He found no. It's all quiet. Everything is as it is, as in the night. Then he found the light is coming out from the heart, from his own heart. He could see from outside the light within. And it was a completely new type of experience. He got terribly afraid. Though he read in the book, as we are doing now, he had the idea why this light. But even then the experience, he was telling, I was so foolish. Instead of nurturing that particular experience, I ran back to the room where the other brahmacharis were there, and I lied down on the bed. But I could not sleep, because constantly my mind was going back to the heart, and I used to see the light all the time. Then I was afraid whether the other people are seeing it or not, what they will think, and I may disturb their sleeps. He said, no, outside the people, they're all sleeping. But he saw the light coming out of his body and enlightening everything wherever he goes. It continued. Just before the sannyasa, it went away. So these are the experiences are true, and it happened in the lives very recently. That person is still alive. So it happens, not only the yogis of the past, only the rishis of the olden days, they realized, no, in the very modern time, it has also happened. So he saw that light. And here Sri Ramakrishna is telling, when it goes in between the two eyebrows, when the Kundalini reaches, then he sees the form of God. This is the time when the two, but most of the people in the calm, they are practicing the different type of yoga, different names. You know, the different very attractive names they give, and people, they are getting attracted. But they see, instead of the form of God, they see the light in between. Sri Ramakrishna is the God himself. His experience, shall we take his experience or experience of the others? So this is the standard. Here it says, see the form of God. But still, there remains a slight barrier. When he is giving the description, and if you read the Raja Yoga of Swami Vivekananda, when you read the description, if find that these people have already visited all those places, experienced all those things. That's why they are so clear about it. The Sri Ramakrishna is telling, they see that, but they cannot touch it. They cannot go very close to it. And immediately giving an example, it is like a light inside a lantern. You may think to have touched the light, but in reality you cannot, because the barrier of the glass in the lantern, the light is inside, and the glass outside, it is so clean that you feel that you can touch the light that is burning. But no, there is a barrier. That barrier breaks when last of all is the seventh plane, which according to Tantra is the center of the 1,000-petal lotus, the center of the 8,000-petal lotus. When the Kundalini arrives there, the aspirant goes into Samadhi. This is the place of Samadhi. Why? The complete consciousness goes and merges with the pure consciousness. The Jiva consciousness, a little associated with the body, mind, eye sense, when it goes into that, and sometimes Swami Vivekananda is also describing the small little drop of water, as long as it is falling from the sky and going on saying, I am going to lose my personality, identity, I am a small drop of water. But when it falls on the ocean, it becomes ocean. You cannot find that small water over there. It is there, but as a ocean. So there is no part in the ocean, it is the whole thing. And similarly, when the aspirant's mind, the yogi's mind, slowly goes to the top of the seventh, the one gentleman, he has, in a poetical way, he has given the description of Swami Vivekananda's Samadhi on the 4th of July. And he was meditating. And that man is giving the description of this seventh. He started slowly rising his power, because Sri Ramakrishna told, whenever you want, you can die. Ichha mrittu. According to your wish, you can die or you can live. When Swami Vivekananda decided that this is the particular day I should give up my body, and then he was meditating, one after another, the lotuses he was crossing, touching, and the beautiful way he has described. And he is telling that these as if the snake is going up, and ultimately it touched the seventh one. And that was really a wonderful experience. And Swami Vivekananda only, just like a little baby, uttered the mother, mother, mother. And he merged into that. Swami Vivekananda himself has composed a small poem where he is describing when it goes, and ultimately the last one, that's the sixth one, in between the two eyebrows, there also eye sense still remain. And then I, then when it goes to the seventh one, I completely vanishes. I become thou. And here it says, the last seventh place, according to the Tantra, is the center of the 1,000-petal lotus. When the Kundalini arrives there, the aspirant goes into Samadhi. In that lotus dwells Satchidananda Shiva. Satchid Ananda Sarupa Shiva. Shiva, the auspiciousness, is not the form that we Shiva we worship. It is the auspiciousness, the purity. And purity means only spirituality and no worldly things. There is no Nama, Rupa, Jagat. There is no Nama and Rupa. Only Astiti, that is only they are, something is there, that much feeling. So that is called Shiva, auspiciousness, Sat Chit Ananda Sarupa. So just to explain, just to give an idea so that we can grasp that, Sat, the existence, Chit, the knowledge, and bliss, Sat Chit Ananda, Ananda is the bliss. Shiva auspiciousness. The absolute, their Kundalini, the awakened power, unites with the Shiva. This is known as the union of Shiva and Shakti. So the Yoga and Tantra, it goes hand in hand. Why the Tantra says, when the Shakti and Shiva merges, that knowledge is Tantra. Tanyate vistaryate jnanam anena iti Tantra. Tanyate means vistaryate. Vistaryate means all expansion, everywhere. What? Knowledge. Jnanam iti. What is that knowledge? The Shakti and the Shiva are one. And that is the why, as I was telling you, the Krishnananda Agam Vakesh, that he was praying the Shakti and Shiva, the auspiciousness and the power of the auspiciousness, when it is coming together. In the yoga, Kula Kundalini is coming and meeting the Satchidananda Shiva in the yogic path. Tantra, the Shiva and the Shakti, the Kula Kundalini or the Shakti, they manifest. So when it comes together, these two you must understand, then it's come Tantra. So Tannate vistaryate jnana anena iti. So this jnana, and when it comes, what happens? In that state, the life breath lingers for 21 days and then passes out. The ordinary people, when they reaches over there with their tremendous spiritual practices, they die after 21 days. Why? Because they don't have that body consciousness. They completely forget that they have a body, and this body cannot survive without food and water. The Annamaya Kosha, it cannot survive without food and water. As because they stop taking food and water and stop taking care for the body, then ultimately 21 days they can somehow survive and then they die. You know that in the life of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, when in the practice he went into the samadhi and he was not waking up, then from somewhere another yogi came with a stick and he started beating the body of the Sri Ramakrishna, making pain so that he feels that pain and brings back the mind down. And whenever he used to wake up because of the pain of the beating, the yogi used to feed him immediately and pour water. And he served Sri Ramakrishna for that way. That's why afterwards Sri Ramakrishna could survive. Of course, then after this, he got the Sri Ramakrishna himself told, when he wanted to give up the body, then someone, the Brahman, came and told, no, you have a purpose to take this form, Sri Ramakrishna, and you should be in between this spirituality and this worldly life. So Bhava Mukha, this Bhava Mukha is a great subject. And he is living in between these, standing on the threshold of that one is spiritual life, another is worldly life. Sometimes he used to say to himself, I am going to drink water. There's an itcha, desire, that is to bring down his mind. I am going to chew the pana, one type of betel leaves and all, I am going to chew that. That way he used to bring down his mind. I am going to visit that person. He used to say to himself, just to bring down his mind. And what we do? I like to forget that person, so that my mind at least go up. So many persons are crowded in our mind, so many other desires. But still, the opportunity is there because Sri Ramakrishna is telling it is possible. After attaining samadhi, some souls of their own accord keep ego of knowledge. Ego of knowledge. Without ego, no one can survive. So it is the knowledge ego. What is that knowledge? I and my Father in heaven are one. I and my mother in the temple are one. Sri Ramakrishna is telling, Mother, I am also the same. You like me to eat your food? Same thing. That ego, I, remains as but this ego does not create any attachment. It is like line drawn on the water. So how he explains that if you are making a line on the water, how it leaves? Nothing. So similarly, this ego is nothing, apparently, only to keep down the mind. Hanuman, he kept the servant ego after realizing God. But here, in both his personal and impersonal aspect. The Hanumana, he is the combination of Jnana and Bhakti. Then we find that the great sages like the Narada, then Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, Sanat Kumar, after attaining the knowledge of Brahman, kept the servant ego and the ego of devotion. Like Narada, ego of devotion. There are two classes of Paramahamsas. That this is, I will read and then we will stop today. Two classes of Paramahamsas. This we must understand very clearly. This is the very high level, the spiritual level, and particularly those who are trying to understand the spirituality. Paramahamsas, the highest standard in the spiritual goal. One, affirming the formless reality, and the other affirming God with form. One without form and other group with form. Toilanga Swami believed in the formless reality. For Toilanga Swami, many of you know, he was a great personality. He used to live in the Kashi. He was stationed in Kashi, and they used to call him the moving Shiva. This Paramahamsas like him, like the Trilanga Mahaprabhu, this is who are accepting the formless reality of Brahman. They care only for their own good, and they feel satisfied if they themselves attain the goal. So this is a great statement. There's some people are there, a personality like Trilanga Swami, and they are thinking only for their own salvation and they are not bothered about anything else. You remember that Swami Vivekananda also wanted that, and he told the young Naren, he was telling, I will go down into Samadhi and come up only to eat something to keep the body and like to enjoy that. Sri Ramakrishna rebuked him. Fie on you. Why? Because the second grade, those Paramahamsas who believe in God with form, keep the love of God even after attaining the knowledge of Brahman. Keep the love of God even after attaining the knowledge of Brahman. After realizing Atma Jnana from the path of knowledge, they are keeping the devotion outside so that they can survive. Why they? So that they can teach spiritual truth to others. This is a great feeling for the others. And that feeling, it became so high in Swami Vivekananda that he promised, till there will be someone, even a dog, I will come back to help that being to realize God. So that is Vivekananda. That is the feeling. Gopis of the Vrindavan too attained the knowledge of Brahman. Vrindavan, the gopis, we always talk about the love and these and that, and there will be so many songs and the dramas, but they were all Gyanis, but they were not seeking it. They wanted to enjoy God, looking on themselves as his mother, his friend, his husband, his lover. The different attitude they took to enjoy. So that is what, when we realize God. So thank you, friends. Let us conclude over here, and we'll again in the next Tuesday we will meet and discuss. Let us chant this mantra. Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namama. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.